Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
I'm wearing really cool octopuses on my shirt. Yes. And you've got really pretty flowers.
Thank you. I actually have 2 sweaters on today. I've got double sweater going on because it's cold.
Layers Day here in Texas. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Jen, and this is
Bean.
And we're here for Minute to Skim It here on The Experience, which will hopefully get you all queued up for the things that are coming out this week to your local comic shop, and you can support them by purchasing the things. Heads up, just for anybody that's out there, Diamond shipments, which is going to be most of the independents, and some shops, Marvel, are delayed. So if your shop tells you that they don't have them, it's kind of a thing that's happening for most of the United States because of the really bad weather last week. So just keep them informed of what you want, and I'm sure they'll make a list, and when they come in, they'll pull them for you, and everyone will be happy. That's why this show is even more important, so you know what's coming out, even though you won't have a physical copy at your shop to peruse and stuff. So we got your back.
Yes, we even have one that I was able to get the PDF off of Diamond and read it this week. Right. So, and it was definitely worth it.
Doesn't stop us really from reviewing so much. All right, so our Marvel, so PRH was able to get their stuff out, some kind of magic. I think they sent it out earlier than the storm. So Marvel's out at some places. So I'm going to tell you about the Marvel that you should be thinking about picking up this week. Teenie Howard is doing this fun series called Secret X-Men. Now, I'm not sure how long the series is going to be, but it's definitely introducing a new team. So I don't know if you remember or read what I call the Heckfire Gala. Keep it clean. I know that AG double hockey sticks is not a bad word, but I still can't say it. I don't know. I don't like it. So anyway, so back at the Heckfire Club storyline that happened 3 months ago, they kind of chose the new X-Men team. And of course, not everyone can be on the team. That would be a really gigantic team. Although I don't really know why not. Why can't we just have everybody on the team? But anyway, there were some X-Men wannabes, hopefuls that are always kind of in the fringes, like Sunspot and Banshee. And some of them don't make the main team and end up on side teams. So this book kind of like explores their kind of like coming together. It's like their recollection of they had like a party afterwards because it was a gala, so they were having fun. That during that, maybe a little bit of fire water was imbibed. But they remember kind of coming up with a loose plan, like for everybody that didn't make that team, why don't we just make our own team? So this is kind of like this happening and them gathering together, everybody, and then kind of like pitching the idea to them. And there's some other stuff going on in the background, which of course still ties into all that Hickman storyline. But this one is one of those books that if you had to choose whether you had to have this one or not, I don't know if it's essential to the storyline, but it's important if you want to know everything that's happening in the background for that universe. So there you have it.
Nice. And I stole a few Marvel this week, but I'll start off with my usual of my DC. Actually, you know what? Let's start with this one. Somebody's just going to tune in real quick because this is a good one for if you need a little Valentine's Day gift. This is DC's Strange Love Adventures #1, one shot for Valentine's Day. And on the front you can see that it's Harley with a T-Rex. They are not, I don't think there are any T-Rexes in Harley's story, but there is a Harley story, and then separately there is a dinosaur story, which is absolutely awesome. And this is like a lot of their holiday books. Excuse me. Choked on my own spit. Sorry. And so it's a bunch of little little stories, and I will say I don't usually get emotional, but I was very close to tearing up at one of these.
Who was the winner? Who was the writer?
It was I don't know who the
Do they have them on
writer
the
is.
outside?
No, I'll have to open it up, but it was Alfred's story. You get a whole story from Alfred's point of view that is about what love means to him as somebody who's providing service to Bruce Wayne, and then to all of the different all the different Robins, and to all the different Batgirls. And it's just really sweet because it's just about how much that means to him and what it means to have helped them for all those years. So like I said, that one was very sweet because it's one of those things where they're exploring all different types of love, and that's very cool. And there's like it says that Peacemaker loves something more than peace, and he's making his little Valentine. And then just like if you've seen the show where they have John Cena walking around in his tidy whities, they put that in here too, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, just
it's a one sure way to sell that issue.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good. And like I said, it's I was trying to think of there's also just a dinosaur love story in here, which is wonderful. And like I said, I really enjoyed this. This would be just such a perfect one of just if you have somebody in your life that is curious about comics, maybe sees you reading comics a lot, and you want to just get them a little something, just hey, here you go. Here's some little fun stories,
So average T-Rex arms were 3 feet long. It's just, they're so huge. They look little teeny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does look like a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur cover, which we do also have up here.
Yeah.
And Alfred was always your favorite. Why Little Pig? What version of Alfred did you like? Was it the comic book version or a specific one from the screen? Or you just like all of them, no matter how it's come out? I'm trying to remember my favorite Alfred. Probably Michael Caine. I like him.
Yeah, he was good.
He's such a good actor. You just saw that, yeah. Okay, now here's all of them. Any of them, Little Pig stuff. Oh, this is another cool story that's out this week. Maestro World War M. And I will tell you, for comparison, your arms are 1 meter-ish. I can't even. I have an albatross wingspan, so I'm not real sure how long mine are. So Maestro, for people that don't know or they haven't read a lot of Hulk, Maestro is just a version of the Hulk. So,
okay, I was wondering with the whole World War M thing too. I was like, giving me Hulk vibes.
Yeah, he's kind of like I don't know if I'd call him smart, but he's not like the dumb rage monster just smash things kind of version of Hulk. When you see Maestro show up, there's something else going on. Cranky old man version. Yes. I like that description. Also in this story and are important, the Abomination. You can see on the cover. The cover is not a lie this week at all. The cover is telling all the truth. Namor, believe it or not. And you can see him on the cover, so it's not spoilery, although they kind of do like a reveal of him in the middle of the book, but there's nobody that this flame on looking dude could be other than Johnny Storm. So, how to explain what's going on in this book? Try not to spoil things. See how far I can get into this. It's Peter David writing, so you know it's amazing. Oh, that's right. You have somebody show up from not our timeline and give a warning about what's going on. So this actually takes place what looks like near future, or at least apocalyptic future, in which it looks like most everything is destroyed. And I can't tell a whole bunch about this. There are some key players I don't want to mention because it's so cool how this lays out. But anyway, if you just know that if you like the Human Torch, or if you like Hulk stories in general, or if you like to hate on Namor, which everybody does, although I really, really, really want him to show up on screen because he is the one. So the other thing you need to know about Namor is that he doesn't like humans. He would like them all to be gone. And in this storytelling, the humans are.
Oh.
So this is really a story about what happens after that. So pick it up. It's really cool. I think people that are lovers of the Hulk storylines might accidentally miss this one. So don't.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. We do the other big DC. Let's just get those talked about. This is Suicide Squad Blaze, another one of their big books. And man, they have really been, until I started reading these, I didn't realize they really make the most of the extra space. I don't know if there's artists and writers that have been sitting there just wanting more space and DC is just letting them have it, or if maybe these stories are kind of expanding as they're being given more room. But this one was awesome. It really reminds me, they pull a lot from sort of the feel of the movie, and that feel of in the beginning where there's the, sorry if it's spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, but it's also the first 10 minutes of where there's the team that goes in and is the true Suicide Squad method of the, Amanda Waller is just sending people in with superpowers and they're all going to die.
People fodder.
Like that's it. They're cannon fodder. They really are. And in this one, so what the Blaze protocol is, they start off with the big bad. Big bad is something is killing like 3 people a day. And it's ripping their spines out.
So like people, not
like
super people.
Just people. Just literally anybody. And so it's so random that people have not noticed for a little while, and now all of a sudden people are realizing literally 3 to 4 people a day are being eaten. Parts of their body are being eaten.
De-spined.
Yes. And so and it is like I said, this is a pretty gruesome book. They definitely go hard on the gore and the violence in this one, but it's very, very good. And it's basically they've said to Amanda Waller, they've said, hey, we're initiating Blaze Protocol. So Blaze Protocol is some sort of medical treatment that they can give to people or to superpowered people already kind of with some sort of superpower, and it makes them super extremely powerful and then kills them after 3 months.
Oh, that sounds not good.
Yeah, so you are introduced to they originally asked the original Suicide Squad, and they're all like, nah, we're good. We don't want that. So then they go and get other folks from the prison and say, here you go, you do this. And then it goes into the stories of the people who have agreed to just die in 3 months. So it's
like, sure.
Yeah, it's good. And this one took me a while to read. I was saying that I didn't have a lot to read this week. A couple of these took me a while. This one is a dense book, and it's worth it though. Like, you get into the story and the world and everything, and it's very good. I'm real excited to see where that story goes, because I don't know if the characters survived. The last page, I'm not sure if they're already dead or not. Like, is the next one, are we going to get different characters? I don't know.
I agree, Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Waller is one of those amazingly well-written characters where she is, at her core, kind of like a reprehensible, amoral person. But she gets stuff done, right?
Yeah. She's a very efficient administrator who does not care about human life. So,
although for the first 2 Suicide Squad movies, it does feel like the things that she's saving all of humanity from are kind of self-caused. So she's just cleaning up her own mess.
But yeah, this one, that Suicide Squad Blaze is very good. If you already enjoyed the Suicide Squad, and maybe if you've been on sort of that, I don't know if I want a big DC book, that's the one to start off with, because it's really, really wonderful.
Perfect.
Gotta spill the tea on Devil's Reign for the week. That's what you want to do.
I do. You know what's so hard is that some of the characters are in more than one thing. Mm-hmm. So I find myself having to look at the book again to make sure I'm not like telling you the story that's in one book instead of the one that's in the other.
Mm-hmm.
So forgive me as an old lady as I check and make sure that I'm not telling you the wrong thing. All right, so Devil's Reign. This is on issue 4 of the 6 issues that are part of Devil's Reign. There are some like single shot books that have been coming out that kind of like are all tied into the series. It's Chip Zdarsky writing, and the main like through storyline is really kind of like the power struggle with Kingpin wanting to be like maybe a little bit more than what he is now, which is the mayor. And I don't know if he's being straight out. I've had it all over on all of y'all yet, but it's very clear that he knows he's got enough power in enough places that it doesn't really matter if people know that he's up to no good. And in this case, the storyline that's being talked about here is that he's trying to hunt down some specific children that their parent has the ability to kind of like, I guess I'll say brainwash. So brainwashed.
Yeah.
So even Maury's trying to put everything in his corner so that no matter what, even if people start to catch on that he's not a good person for them, that he can just like put these kids around and still people will be like, he's a cool dude. I'll totally vote for him. So, and he's got his, he's formed his own team, right? He's got the U.S. agent and the Rhino and others that are kind of like working for him. And then what part of that group is in the last issue, Doc Ock shows up and is basically handing him over what he needs to finish up his plan. And all Doc Ock wants is like some specific like access to something, which seems like Doc's got something up under his sleeve or on arms or whatever, because I don't feel like Otto would ever be satisfied with being second string to anything.
Yeah.
So that's where you are on the storyline here. It's really well written. I can't wait to see how all of this rolls out.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna do, since you did Devil's Reign, I got to read Moon Knight. So this is not, so this says Devil's Reign tie-in here, and there, but this is not the Moon Knight one-shot Devil's Reign full tie-in. This is just sort of something that's happening at the same time.
He does show up in this like an panel.
Yeah. And so actually Moon Knight is not actually in Moon Knight this week. So
0% Moon Knight.
At the beginning they say Moon Knight's off doing things in Devil's Reign. So he's off over there, you know. And who we get to hang out with in this one is Hunter's Moon, who is his it was another of the another Fist of Khonshu, you know, awesome, like similar, follows the same, has the same powers and everything. And this is actually, you know, if you are curious about Moon Knight and, you know, kind of new show is coming out, it looks awesome, you know, gonna have Oscar Isaac in it, it's gonna be amazing. If you're curious, this actually might be kind of a cool jumping in point. So this is Moon Knight number 8, and in this one, like I said, Moon Knight has stepped away. So I'm guessing when he comes back, they're going to start a whole new storyline too. Okay. But this one was an awesome because it really gets into Harvest Moon. Really kind of explains a little bit about like where the powers come from, who Khonshu is, what it means to be a Fist of Khonshu. I don't know if maybe they expected people to be coming in and saying, hey, I saw a trailer and it looked awesome. I wonder if I should read this, you know?
Well, if they've done this is probably the first time they successfully coordinated that. I know it's terribly hard when you have to wait for writers to write and artists to art and a production schedule and get paper and all that stuff to coordinate all that stuff so that it ends up at the shop at the same time people are going to need it. It's tough.
So, but it happened. I don't know. Maybe it's just a happy coincidence, but I'm happy. So, you know, but this one is awesome because it's actually a very straightforward story, seems to wrap up at the end, although there's a little like final panel, a little final page. It's like epilogue. The murderer's escaping. You know, like down at the very end. But this one we have Hunter's Moon. We have a guy who used to be in the police, but because of things in Devil's Reign, he's not in the police anymore. He comes and he just says, hey, there was this murderer, and you get this cool story of like this murderer, and we thought she was dead. And now the murders that seemed like her are happening again. We got to figure this out. And so then it's Hunter's Moon going and finding this murderer and confronting them. And so it's cool. It's like a murder story with backstory and lore about who Moon Knight is and who Harvest Moon is and everything. And so it's a really good little book to pick up this week if you're curious about it. So
Moon Knight tends to sell out every week, at least for our local shop. So if you haven't put it on your pull list, you might consider it, because especially as we get closer to the release of the show, and we know that Oscar Isaac is a very popular person because of his roles in Star Wars, that there might be a lot of crossover traffic to this title, so it might be harder and harder to pick it up. So and thank you, Lee, for joining us, and thanks, Comic Book Jackpot. We love you too. And hi, Aunt Charlotte. We're going to tell you all about him. Yes. That one's going to be soon. I think that's going to be very next person.
Cute.
That character's name is Dupe. Aunt Charlotte. Dupe. It's a funny name, right? All right, and then I also have been reading the weekly released title, Amazing Spider-Man. This one says Enter the Slingers, and it sure enough does. This is kind of an excursus away from the Peter Parker story and away from Ben Reilly's story. It's not about them at all in this issue. It's about these guys. Especially this main character here, who his like wings, I think they make some kind of disruptive sound that makes like the symbiotes, you know how they're susceptible to like like sound waves. I think his things put those out, because this takes kind of like a jump back and talks about stuff that happens in what's the storyline? King in Black. Sorry. Mm-hmm. In the King in Black storyline, it goes back and touches on events that happened during that time, and specifically rounds together these characters. That's another thing to think about when you see stuff that says point. Then that's what's going on. Is that they're having a story that's associated with the main story that's going on, because this does say 88 Point Bay, so it is part of the Beyond storyline.
Not Beyonce, like I thought.
No, not Bay Bay. And this one is does this one have that in it? No, it's the other book. See what happens? There's 2 Spider-Man books this week, so this one's really cool. We've been seeing that every single week the Amazing Spider-Man is being picked up as well, which I didn't know if it was going to still happen, because it's a lot to ask someone to pick up a title every single week instead of once a month. But the storyline has been so good and so solid that it's continuing to be one of those high demand books. So, and just like the Secret Avengers or Secret X-Men, sorry, is it one you absolutely need to have to be able to understand what's going on in the storyline going forward? I don't think so. I think you can, if you had to choose between one or the other of some other thing that you really love, you can choose the other one. But for your completists out there, it's worth the money to buy.
And for Aunt Charlotte,
yeah,
we'll talk about Doob, and this is the Excellent. So actually, we've got 2 covers up here, which are the Scotty Young variants, because we've already sold out of the main covers of them, because we've had so many people. Our pull box customers already have them safely in their pull box, and so this is Scotty Young's Doob cover that he did for this comic, and so the Excellent. I had a good time reading this, but there's a lot of folks in here. There's a lot.
Oh, they throw you like every character from everything.
So in the Excellent, there is the team called the Excellent, who have appeared as kind of a counter. It's also a very chaotic book, so trying to read it quickly, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. There's so in this world, this part of the Marvel Universe, Ecstatics is a team that's established and has been around. I believe that they give a little blurb about something happened and then they formed because they were inspired by this other team in the past, and then so they're just superhero team out superheroing, just doing their thing. The Excellent team has come in, and their main goal is to amass social media followers. That is their main goal. And
we've had this story in Spider-Man before, where they that was part of the last group that owned him.
Oh yeah.
Before Beyond, it was just here is a suit, but you got to do everything that we tell you to do so we can get more social media hits. Yeah. That was a wreck.
Well, and that's a big corporation. These are just some folks, and they are using teleportation to jump around, and they're just kind of just doing stuff. They crash Comic-Con. They don't call it Comic-Con, but it's Comic-Con. They show up at a Hollywood movie premiere, and one of the complaints is that they just eat all of the snacks. They're just eating all the free food. I mean, it's just chaos. And then they get into a fight. There's a fight between Ecstatics and Excellent, and Excellent manipulates the footage so that Ecstatics looks like they're the aggressors, and just all this. Also, I really had trouble keeping up with who both these teams have X in them. Yeah. I don't know any of these people. I love the character designs, but I don't know who was who.
So you're saying we need a spreadsheet for this one?
I just take some time. Like I said, there were a couple between this one and Blaze. They both are books that really need some time sit and you think about it and you think, wow, look at that new character. Let me commit it to my memory instead of frantically minute to skim it, reading it. So it was very fun though. And I really enjoyed the character design. Character design is wonderful because you've got all sorts of, it's not, we all love the classic superhero, the buff dude, the hot chick wearing spandex. There's a lot of different body types. There's a lot of different weird stuff going on. And I fully love that. This is a good book to pick up. And like I said, we've already sold out of our cover A. So definitely make sure this is one of the ones that you are, I would definitely say it's worth picking up. It's interesting. It's new. And it's not, I don't think it's just the same thing. Like I said, I know it's similar to what you've been reading in Spider-Man, but it really does feel very different. So if you're kind of, bored of the same old, the Excellent's a good one.
And I like Pablo's comment, our Bill and Ted in Excellent.
I would not be surprised if there is a reference. It's just that kind of a comic book where there probably is a reference in there somewhere.
You know what? I bet you there's got to be an Easter egg.
There's got to be. I wish I could open this book and show it to you, but I can't. But
we are disallowed.
Man, yeah, you've got, just look up and try and find images of it tomorrow, when it's released, because it's wonderful. It really is.
All right. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys something about this. I didn't tell you why it's a bay. It's bay because one of the main characters has like a crowdfunding app that they're like, we're gonna take this farther and step it up and have a cool new business idea. And then all of a sudden he gets a call from his business partners like, there's people here taking all of our servers, and they showed me a bill of sale, and Beyond has bought his business out from underneath him, because although he's the president of the business, he is still not the owner of it. So the parent company sold his business out from underneath him, which is so nuts. So anyway, that's where the bay fits in. Sorry. Ooh. All right. This one we've been waiting on for a little while. Cult of Ikarus. This is the Scout Comics. It is definitely a vampire tale. So I know that you guys are kind of jonesing for some more vampires stories. And this one is just so beautiful. The art style is very different than I don't think this artist is done any other Scout books.
I love that cover. And the cover B for that is a Lost Boys tribute cover. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah. And
that color, sorry, I'm peeking over Miss Jen's shoulder and looking inside.
It's like bright and neon.
It is. There's a lot of neon. I love that. Because so many of the vampire tales too are kind of dark, and they've got that very Bram Stoker darkness, which is awesome. But it's cool to see bright colors and really vibrant.
Mm-hmm. The main character in the book is named Hunter, and yeah, there's just a lot of, I think they're after Hunter and we don't really know why. It's Hunter seems to be just like a normal person in this book. Mm-hmm. And then just out of nowhere, these vampires show up. But the way that the panels are done in this are super funny. Mm-hmm. There's one where she gets cornered in the bathroom and realizes that the people that have cornered her in the bathroom have no reflections in the mirror. So the lines are no reflections, and then the next one is she looks at them and looks at their skin and says super flawless. Mm-hmm. Super pointy teeth is the next panel, and then super effed.
Oh, no.
That's what she says at the bottom. So into that regard, it's not for kids, but there's not some of the books that have been out have got nudity and things, and it's not this one. So this one doesn't have that, at least yet. But this one's got really high quality paper, and it's got me intrigued to see what's next. And I like her shirt says "Still Here."
Yeah.
But in a really cool way.
Yup. Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm gonna get into my. Let me knock out Justice League down here.
Knock
Last
out.
to my DC. All right, so this is the 2022 annual for Justice League, and this one, I really enjoyed the art in this one. You can see on the cover the art throughout the book matches the cover. You can see here, and this one is so it's a self-contained story, but it does indicate in the book that it falls into where Nubia and the Amazons, where that story has been going.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to think the other book. Oh, it says that it is going to lead into and be part of like kind of the backstory for events that are going to take place in Justice League versus the League of Superheroes. I think that's the title. Anybody who's been keeping up with it will know what book I just talked about, even if I didn't quite get all those words right.
Right now, DC's like, that sounds like a cool book. We'll make that.
Yes. And so in this one, it starts off with Omak, who and his kind of sidekick robot helper Siri machine, who is helping him, and this is in the far future, and he is fighting his way through because he sort of reminds me of like Peacemaker, of like where he's like, I will, you will respect the law or I will crush you.
And they come out of the same kind of era because like Peacemaker was like these old school like 70s, 80s, and so does Omax.
Yeah, and so he is trying to enforce the law, and then he actually finds Hawk Girl in a like vat of mystery yellow goo. Like
what?
she's like suspended. And then all of a sudden, so he finds her. All of a sudden, we're on the Justice League. Like we're in their headquarters. And Wonder Woman is like they're having a party for Wonder Woman. And you're like, oh well, you think that they're doing the thing where comic books are, they'll jump around. Oh, we'll get back to Omak later. And then all of a sudden Omak's there and he's just like, what the heck? Where am I? And he's been transported into the past. So this is a time travel book. And the whole rest of it is all of these weird things where, you don't know what's happening. Omak's in a lot of different places. Superheroes are being popped in and out of different time loops. There's temporal stuff going on. It's really fun. It's very chaotic, and like I said, this is I think the other one that like it took me a little bit to read it just because it's a thick book and it is a lot of time travel stuff going on in here. So it was a really fun story, and like I said, it's also self-contained. And you don't have to have read anything to know what's going on. You don't have to read anything after this.
My
if you don't
favorite
want to.
kind.
Yes, so very fun annual.
And I'll be continuing to remind everybody about this, but make sure that if the Justice League is an interesting book to you, that you do add it to your pull box because there's a major event that's heading your way in number 75, in which the cover, which is all over the internet, so I'm not spoiling anything for you that you can't have already seen accidentally anyway, is that there are 5 caskets on the cover of that, and everyone else standing around looking very sad. That appears to be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash. So it's all our main leaguers.
Yeah.
So you have probably noticed that recently they've been introducing alternate kind of versions of all of those characters. And like for Wonder Woman, Nubia is around, and Teen Lantern. We've got a bunch of. You like Teen Lantern? You'd be okay with having a break from the main guys. Yeah. You've got Superman's son is fully grown up and has his own powers and can hold his own. So something big's going to happen coming up, and I'm sure it's not just going to happen in number 75. That it's going to have some lead-in things. So you might add it to your pull box if you want to know what the entirety of the story lead-in is. So
yeah, I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't wait to see what they're doing.
There's some big buzz. Okay, I should have poked My friend Robert. Okay, so Snowpaw is a really fun book that your local comic shop may not have, and I apologize, but I love to review books from super indies. This is a self-published book from Lone Wolf Comics. You can find them, I think it's just lonewolfcomics.com. And the interior art on this one is by Mog Park, which a lot of you guys will recognize, especially if you hang out on Comic Book Shopping Network or the Artist Alley Shopping Network. Or so Mog has done a lot of art for other comic books, so it's not Mog's first work. Mog also did a lot of work for Game of Thrones, so not new to the market. But Snowpaw is actually a tie-in book to a different series that they had out for a while. Yes, I should have in the top. It's right here. Sorry, I should have put it on the very top. I'll just point you on the way of what it is. So Nightwolf is a series that it came out of, and there's a big main character that appears in this universe that this is essentially the origin story for. This story is very sweet. If you like stories that take place in kind of like medieval feeling times, the main character is a girl whose father, who's basically just a farmer, has an arranged marriage for her, which she's super resistant to because it's someone she's never met before, and he's rich. And she's like, "You're just doing this, Dad, because they're going to pay you a lot of money for my dowry." But it looks like Dad's got it all. Like the fellow that she goes and meets, his family seems nice, and he's super hot. So she changes her mind about that. But there is like a big left turn in the when she's there at her engagement party, where there's some werewolves that show up. There's a comic book landslide I have to fix. But there are werewolves that show up to this event and make everything very, very interesting. And I can't tell you anymore because then it's going to mess a lot of stuff up for you. But there's other really fun things that they have done in the design of this book. There are a great many. I think this is Scottish lore. Feels like Scottish, where they have like creatures that are part of their history, their folklore, that are hidden in some of the pages in here. But at the very end of the book, they actually show like pictures of them and give you descriptions about what they are and what they do. And the picture is exactly what it looks like in the book. So you can go back and find them, kind of like a search and find, which
it's so fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
So that one is called Snowpaw. I'm going to go hunt that down or find it directly from the creators.
Oh, see, I get to talk about my one indie that I got to.
Your paper comic.
Yes, which, speaking of, I have to shock if I can say real quick. One of the ones we didn't get today that I would have absolutely reviewed is Bylines in Blood. That one was so good. I loved that one so much. And Bylines in Blood #2 came out this week. I'm really excited to read it when we get it in. I was bummed that I could not today, but that's my one I was sad about. Were there any that you were looking forward to reviewing? And
yeah, there's a bunch that was supposed to come in from Diamond that I really wanted to read, like #1 stuff. Yeah, that's like even like Draculina, that's a new Dynamite book.
Yes.
It's like Vampirilla's sister from Draculon. I know that sounds like all made up words, but it's not. I assure you Draculon's a real place, and that's where Vampirilla's from, and she has a sister called Draculina. I didn't make it up. Yeah. So cool. Oh, and look, someone else got to read it.
Yeah.
Kyle. Excellent. I will take your word for it. It's amazing.
And I got to read Land of the Living Gods because I found a PDF on the Diamond website and got to read it. I was so happy that I got to read this. And I know that Miss Jim was talking about how it may be a very difficult one to find too. So this is your little warning to give people a call about this book, because Land of the Living Gods, I'm going to do my absolute best to explain to you everything that's going on in this book. But it's one of those where I know I've just reviewed a couple of comics where it's like chaos, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't really know what happened. This is one of those where you get immersed in this very complex world, but you absolutely know as much of what's going on as you want to at that time. There's still big mysteries, there's big questions, but you really know this world. And this is another one, kind of like what they did with New Masters last week, where it's incorporating a lot of African cultures into it. It's a lot of the language and everything, and I really enjoyed that. And this one, it starts off with the main character, and she is trying to take care of her mom, who is sick. And what is helping her take care of her mom is a sentient plant who is able to move. I don't think the plant can actually speak, but it definitely knows what it's being asked of. And she basically asks it because it has the flowers and the leaves of this sentient plant have, I'm not sure if they're magical abilities. I would say basically, yeah, it's like a mystical sort of magical properties. And because she has cared for, and this plant is very important to her, it's basically a member of her family, it willingly gives her plant, like its leaves and bits of its flower, in order to help heal her mother. And her mother, all of a sudden, though, almost kind of does like a speaking in tongues thing, where she starts like talking about all of these gods and the living gods and how she needs to go to them and all this stuff. And of course the daughter is like, what the heck are you talking about, Mom? Like, are you okay? Like, drink your tea I made you, like, it's gonna be okay. And next morning her mom gets up and is just fine and is all better. She's like, what the heck? Last night you were like saying all this crazy stuff, and the mom is just like, you're crazy.
She doesn't remember it either.
No,
then.
She doesn't remember anything.
Okay.
And so the daughter basically, though, I mean, it's not something that she can just forget. She knows she didn't imagine it. She's like, I need to go figure out what the heck is going on. And she starts going out. And one thing we haven't seen a lot of in this first one is the world, which I'm very curious about. There's clearly kind of different groups of people. There's conflict because basically as soon as she gets out on the road, she gets attacked and has to start dealing with all of these groups that want her plant. There's like bigger mystical stuff going on, but this is going to be such a good series. It's so good. This first one's sort of introducing you to the characters and the family dynamics, everything, and it's awesome. You can see her little plant there on the cover. So all you folks who started getting a lot of house plants during the pandemic, there you go. That's a comic for you.
Plants have healing qualities.
Yes, they absolutely do.
All right. So, Savage Spider-Man. Do you remember that hole you have in your heart for like the real dumb Hulk that always focuses in Hulk smash, kill things? Just like they had a She-Hulk version of that was like that too, where they're like, okay. Mm-hmm. So, the dialogue for that character was real simple. You get that in this book.
Oh.
So Savage Spider-Man sets up the premise that there is a drug that gets released called A+, that is supposed to like give people extra boost of power, but then makes them afterwards super dumb. Sounds like something you wouldn't want to take, right? I mean, it's kind of like real drugs.
Yeah, it sounds like Blaze a little bit, but with less side effects because you don't die. You're just dumb.
Dumb. But something weird happens to, I don't know if this is supposed to be Peter Parker or one of the versions of Spider-Man or the Arachnid Spider-Man. But anyway, it, instead of doing that to him, makes him super like savage. Hence Savage Spider-Man. So most of his dialogue is like super like, I eat now, me bite, those kinds of things. But the art is so pretty in this book. Oh my gosh. It's like every page I was like, frame it. Just frame it. Even though he's like talking in weird, and whoever did the penciling in this, it's like the words are like giant and look savage. They look like this. And he also has some other weird ability with, like, you know how spiders like have silk, right? This one, he like has red silk that he puts on people's heads, and it looks like he might be able to control them. Not 100% sure, but yeah, this I'm sure it's the first appearance of a new character.
Yeah,
which everyone likes.
yeah.
But yeah, that one made me really happy because after there was some books this week that took so long to read, and you can tell that like after reading that many big books with a lot of information, it's hard to like when you're talking about them to remember what had what in it. This one was very simple, and I was very happy to have one that was like, this is straightforward. I love it.
It's awesome. Oh my goodness. I've just been obsessed with the Scotty Young cover so much. I was one of those where I just went to everyone in the warehouse when we got it and was just like, look at it.
Look
at it. Oh, let's see. I think I only have one left.
Yep.
And it's a
perfect timing. Look at us.
This one is I didn't get any easy books this week. This is another. It was wonderful, but I don't think I had any other than maybe some of the stories in Strange Love Adventures. Everything took a lot of brain power. And Soltaic is introducing you to a whole world, a whole like 30 years of history, but it is so good. I'm so excited to see where the story goes. So the main character in this one we've seen so far is this lady here on the front with her baby. And in this world, back in like the 80s and 90s, superheroes were just a thing. Superpower, kind of like X-Men style. People with superpowers are being born. They are superheroes. They wear capes. They go fight bad guys, and there's also in this world there's sort of what looks sort of like anthropomorphic like people, so it's like kind of like animal people that are just kind of part of the population. This is also a number 0. I think this one is going to end up being like and part of number 1, like it's kind of like a little preview for what number 1 of the series is going to be.
An Ashcan, but not called Ashcan.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. And so, but they fit a lot in here. It's worth the money, I think, because it's a lot in here. But so basically, in this world there's superheroes. This lady, she is a superhero. She goes by Elysium, and then something happens. We don't know. It's not explained yet. Something happens in the late 90s, early 2000s that makes them say no more superheroes. Somebody messes up, no more superheroes. It's illegal to be a superhero. And then they start saying anyone with a superpower is not allowed to have children because we are going to try and control the population.
Well, that never works.
Yeah, and as you can tell by the fact that she's holding her child here on the cover, so basically she gets pregnant right after they make that declaration where they're like, we are going to start, you're not allowed to get pregnant. So obviously she has to hide and secretly have her child, and it's showing that this is going to be a story a little bit about the mother trying to and how she ended up escaping and raising the child, but it's also very clear this is going to be a story about the little girl as she grows up and is becoming her own superhero, because the mom is sort of set up as the mom telling the daughter the story. Ooh. So this is so good. And also, it's not really a spoiler because it's a pretty short book, but this is her dad in the background, and he's still out there very clearly being a superhero. And he's also like trying to hunt them down for the government. So I don't know what's going on there. Like that's, oh, bless you. It's just like a whole nother level of like, what the heck is going on, So yeah, that's a good one. That, like I said, that one's from Scout, and it's a scoot, so it should be for kiddos.
And it says YA, so it must be young adults.
Yes.
So maybe not for the youngest of us.
No, yeah,
definitely a more all ages slated book. And last but not least, in our last couple of minutes here, we'll talk about Darth Vader, number 20. It's still part of the Crimson Reign storyline where they're trying to hunt down all of the secret members of the Crimson. Forgot the name, second part of their name. Crimson something. Dadgummit! those secret organizations always come up with better names so that I can't remember them.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of fun double cross in this one where the way in which they draw out the actual members is by it's almost like going in and killing the people that aren't part of it to like thank you, Crimson. Is it actual Crimson Dawn? It makes me feel like that's the name of something from a different movie. But I'll believe it. Crimson Dawn sounds right. Isn't that from Die Hard? Isn't the Crimson Dawn movement from Die Hard?
Crimson Dawn
anyway,
is a criminal syndicate from the star, led by Sith Lord Maul.
Okay. We haven't seen Maul at all, so clearly he's not part of it right now.
He's delegated.
Also, like other people have led it. Some of them may be relevant to current television happenings. Ooh, spoiler.
Ah, so you're saying that people should pay attention to this. Excellent. So anyway, so pick this up because Vader's hot and heavy to kill all of them, and he's pretty creative. For sure. And there's robots in it.
Ooh,
talking robots are always my favorites. So thank you everybody for joining us. Oh, thank you so much. I saw from someone that popped on to say hi. BBB Comics, thank you so much for liking our cool fun thing. And while we're here at the very end of our show, if you could please mash that subscribe button so that you can get notified whenever we come on. We do this every single Tuesday. Rain, sleet, snow, no books, some books. We will do the reviews.
We have yet to have the day where we each just have one and then talk. Maybe then we'll just read it aloud. You know,
I've quite literally called up publishers and said, please send me a PDF right now because I need it for review. And they're like, yes.
Mish Jen doesn't know this, but we hit our 900th subscriber on the experience just a little while ago.
Woo!
So hit the subscribe button so that what I just said is a lie.
So it's 9:01 or 2. I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to bid you adieu. Do go and hang out at your local comic shop this week. They need to see you every week because, you know, those bills keep coming in, whether you come or not. So give them the love. I know if you think about it, you'll be like, yes, this is my happy place and I want to support it. So we'll see you guys next time for Minute to Skim It. Bye, y'all.
bye.